What do you guys make of this Gatland squad? We've got Sinclair, Sexton, and maybe Ringrose are the ones who people are complaining about. Are they on the money with leaving these three blokes out?
Oh, Sinclair, I think he's a point of difference.
Yeah.
I like his skill set. I always reference him to the Charlie Faumuina type, you know, like he's just got something different. He offers something different. So I haven't watched enough of him play at the moment to know what form he's in and the reasons why, but I was surprised to see him missing. I think Jonathan Davies as well, you know, with the form of Wales and just the relationship as well. I just thought, and that midfield, you know, like if you look, I don't know, just the midfield, there's a lot of new blood in there. Bundy Aki, Chris Harris. I just thought maybe not the spinner Chris Harris with the form of Wales. I thought he'd be in, but the other one, Josh Navidi for me as well. He was awesome during the Six Nations, but I know that Lucy, you know, because I also think Sam Underhill and Billy Vunipola, you know, those are two big names as well. And then you've got obviously Sam Simmons, who hasn't, you know, we've been hearing cries for him to play for England, but hasn't, and now he's got British and Irish Lions gigs, so that's a hell of a uplift. And you know, so, and Hamish Watson, who's your boy, you wanted him in there, so those boys have probably missed out to those guys. And then maybe Johnny May as well. You know, I know form-wise maybe not, but like, you know, he's been around and done the business for a long time. But I think all those young guys that we spoke about, they're all in there. You know, Van der Merwe, Adams, and Reece Samet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But Finn Russell's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think everyone saw the Sexton thing coming because there was too much talent around. But I suppose it doesn't change the fact that you've got a guy who's an incredibly senior bloke in a team that's achieved a lot over the last few years, suddenly not in the Lions.
I think Biggar just played so well during the Six Nations as well. And then Owen Farrell's ability to go from 12 to 10. I think it's just a squad thing.
Yeah.
You know, they're not having to carry 3 10s. I think if they carried 3 10s, then maybe he slips in there. And I think that's probably where Davies doesn't fit in, and neither does George Ford, is because of Farrell's ability to go between a few positions.
Yeah, anytime you can, you know, a guy like Johnny Sexton of his calibre misses out in the squad. And I think obviously injuries has probably played a massive part around that. But yeah, I think with the form of Dan Biggar in that Six Nations, you know, he's probably warranted a selection. And Warren Gatland knows him pretty well as well in the past. And Finn Russell, we've talked about it previously when we've had talked around Six Nations. His form for Scotland was great. So, but you know, I look at Bundy Aki. I think, you know, some people might think be a bit surprising, but I look at when Ben Teo was selected for the last Lions tour, just brought something a little bit different, and I think Bundy's a little bit different. Like Jonathan Davies has been a proven performer at Lions level and at Welsh level, but you know, I look at, you know, Ben Teo when he played against us at the Crusaders, he was massive around the ball carrying, getting over the advantage line, and especially with this day and age of line speed pressure and big men like the South Africans, you know, he might just have a point of difference around having that kind of physicality. But then he has also got great subtle touches that he's grown in the past 3-4 years as well. Yeah,
and I think because they didn't pick Manu Tuolangi, they needed a style of player like that, and I think Bundy Aki fits that power ball carrying midfielder with the subtle touches as well, because he's not just that either. You know, he does have a lot to his game. So I think he warrants selection. Don't get me wrong. You know, I think he's more in that 12 spot. You know, and then whether they go for Farrell there or not. But yeah, the other selection I really like is Gareth Davies, and I was actually surprised it was his first time being picked. The Welsh nine. I mean, you'll know more about him or like more about him, but I thought he was great during the Six Nations. You know, just around, I don't know if Wayne Pivac brought it out of him or whatever, but just around his quick taps and those little, you know, catching teams off guard and playing a little bit of tempo. He just seems to be in some great form, and I thought it was good reward for someone that's been around a while. And I think maybe Warren was first to pick him in Wales, so first to pick him in Lions is, I don't know, cool story.
Yeah, X Factor is great too.
I think on that as well. Like, you know, Conor Murray's proven, you know, he'd probably he'll probably start, and then you talk around the impact off the bench around what other players can bring in. That up-tempo style jip could be crucial, and especially like South Africa, you look at the other side, you've got Fifth de Klerk, and you've got Hutch's Yanchis. Yanchis who does a similar play for the South Africans. So, that ability to have that 23-man squad and being able to have up-tempo, especially in the Veld, if it's good weather conditions, a guy like Davies, he fits right into that mould of being able to bring up-tempo about back ends of the game.
Yeah, it just opens up sometimes on the high veld, doesn't it? And then anything can happen.
Can if you're sucking in the big ones.
Well, they will be. They will be. Both teams.
Yeah.
Both teams. That first one, jeez.
It just hits you.
So does this squad, does it affect the way that you predict what's going to happen in this series, or are you pretty much in the same place about how this is going to pan out?
The South Africans are so unknown, so it's hard. It's just hard. It's an exciting squad, and I'm excited to see the series, but we'll just know a hell of a lot more after the first game, and it's I do like how much I think they've gone for a lot of form, and that's I feel the best case scenario for what they're going into. They're just backing their coaching skill to get a group together, but a lot of current form as well.
And in a setup like the Lions, where you often hear about factions and things like that, and who's being selected and who's not, taking a whole bunch of guys who undoubtedly in form will help Warren Gatland, you would have thought, Bryn, in making this team come together, because they all know that guy next to them is there based on nothing other than the fact that he should be there.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think the biggest positive they have is that Warren's done it. He's done it before. This is his fourth tour? Maybe was this his fourth tour as coach?
Well, he did Aussie, New Zealand. Did he do South Africa before that?
Yes, I think he did. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
this is his fourth.
yeah.
Yeah, so this is his fourth tour. So, for a guy that's got a pretty good understanding around bringing groups together, I looked at that documentary when they came in for the New Zealand squad around, Andy Farrow's messaging around, they want the British and Irish Lions to be the top team in the competition. So, when you've got that kind of mindset and hunger, and that's driven throughout the group through the leaders and the players, it's going to be pretty special for that group. And again, there's a lot of guys that have been based on their form in the competition, which probably sometimes, you've seen in the past with the media, they probably go to the tried and true. But Warren's done a great job around bringing a lot of form players from different nations as well. Look at the Scottish contingents in that squad. So now it's going to be exciting, and it's the unknown for the South Africans as well. They haven't played since the Rugby World Cup, so it's going to be interesting. And it's just unfortunate that there be no crowds, because I think having the Red Army over there, and then how proud supporters the South Africans are. Other than that, it's going to be a great series to watch.
Yeah, how big a factor is that going to be? Like, I've got a really strong memory of sitting in the cake tin for that second game against the All Blacks and being completely drowned out by the sound going around the cake tin. Anytime New Zealand tried to chance or did anything, it was completely drowned out, and it was very obvious who the home team was. It was the Lions, and it wasn't the All Blacks. How does that pan out?
Well, I think it will be a different experience, especially for the 18 new caps that have grown up wanting to be a British and Irish Lions player and experience exactly what you're talking about. But they're there to do a job, and they'll be focused on that. So it'll be different, but they'll be well aware, and I'd be assuming they'll be putting things in place already to prepare them for it.
You wouldn't have the same extreme highs, would you, in an empty stadium?
No,
the
I
things
can't imagine so. It'd be weird.
It would be really strange.
It'd be very strange.
And especially if you were to win
Especially
it.
for a game this big.
Yeah. And let's say a historic series, and you win it.
This is like up there with World Cup sort of big,